Good afternoon. This is Brian Capaldo, and today I'll be detailing the progress I made for my second milestone this month on Team Fantasy's project Journey to Remember. My job this month was to create the first level of the game, which is gladly titled The Glimmering Forest. This will be the first level that the game will start the player in, which will have an introduction to many of the beginner mechanics that the game has to offer. In which case, the player will progress through the level, try to make it to the landmark all the way at the end, which is that tree, and fight a boss over there. As the player makes their way through, they will be entering battles, encounters, enemies to fight. They'll be wandering through the level, and the player will enter turn-based combat with them, and, well, they must defeat them. During battle, players can parry enemy attacks to gain action points, to which they can then spend action points on using abilities and powers to basically end the fight more quickly. As the player progresses through the game, the enemies will perform more complicated attacks that will be harder to parry. And basically, they will be more powerful. Once the player does manage to win a battle, like so, they will have a summary of certain battle stats, like damage dealt, damage taken, and the amount of times they've successfully parried, along with the enemies that they killed during the battle. And later on, this will also include things like how much experience the player has gained, and how close they are for the party to level up once multiple characters get introduced. Just finish this battle here. If the player runs out of health and all characters on their side of the field is down, the player will end up losing and will have to restart on the nearby on the nearest checkpoint. As you can see here, here's the victory screen. Now you can move on. For this beginning level, I wanted to focus more on environmental storytelling. Although the level is currently quite empty, there's a lot of mechanical things that are currently working and in the background. For instance, as you may have noticed, right now, it's raining, and there's a lot of water around. However, once the player finds and interacts with their first weather orb, they'll be able to change the environment dynamically. In this case, the rain will stop, the sunset will begin, and there would be fire around, which I haven't gotten to the point of making fire particles yet. Using this mechanic, players will be able to unlock certain areas through weather-changing mechanics. For example, this beginning area would introduce a platforming puzzle that the player will have to go through and complete in order to move on through here, which in this case the water is lowered. However, if set to the rain state, these platforms here will end up disappearing, like so. And however, the path ahead will be flooded in water, and therefore you cannot progress. Of course, these main paths aren't the only important thing, as there also are a few hidden side paths. If a player is perceptive and notices that the water lowers when the rain is gone, they would have noticed that a river nearby would have dried up upon making it dry, and therefore allowing the player to go through a side path over here. Other instances of this is when the foliage of the forest around you covers certain side paths as well. For instance, you could actually walk through this patch of grass to head over to a secret side area over here to get a new passive or a new ability. The rewards for going down side paths and progressing through the game is access to abilities that the character can use, which you can equip 3 of, and passives, which all have a cost and a description. Passives activate passively throughout the battle, depending on certain conditions, and abilities are things that you could select. Other than that, that's basically it for my level, and the others will explain more about this game as they go through theirs. Thank you for watching.
All right, hey guys, Bailey Hager here. This month, this week of this month, we're going over our milestone 2 for GSI, where I made a level for our game called Journey to Remember, which is a turn-based RPG. All right, I'm about to launch into it and show you guys on. All right, and it's launching. Woo! So the flow and pacing, I try to keep it pretty simple. It's a I think it's 6 or 7 area level. You're gonna start at a cave entrance. Um, I put on these little rocks to kind of guide the player um, to where they need to go. You also have some checkpoints that kind of guide you to. I try to make it as visually appealing as I could. You have these 2 paths you can go down. You have some collectibles, and then you have a battle, which is our main mechanic. Obviously, oh, there we go. And I'm just gonna attack. I tried to balance the where you have start with the first battle is going to be the weakest enemy in a single one of them, right? And it progressively gets harder with the battles. So, I mean, as you see, this is where we just came from, right? Boom. So you have like the 2 split path here. This leads back into the same one. And then obviously, oh, cool. There's another checkpoint. We're in our bridge room. So here we're using the bridge that I made last milestone. And I think it's got really good visual feedback. I mean, I switched this to glowing, so it's kind of more noticeable. So you need to mess with it. And then the bridge will rotate. I can actually interact with it, right? It's one of those days. Sorry, guys. And try to make the player choices where you have multiple different paths you can go down. Which I'll show you one here, where it's a complete side adventure path, which is my area 3 technically. We're in area 2 right now, which is the bridge room. So you get up to the here. Ah, cool. Like I said, I got these rocks kind of trying to guide the player forward. I didn't add a lever for this one because when I was testing it, it made more sense just to do it this way because it was such a small gap. You could just jump down. Um, Obviously, this is the golden path this way, but I'm gonna show you my side path where you have the option to go down it. It has a collectible over here, and it also has a hidden goal. All right. Oh well, the hidden doors are broken again. I did not realize that. It was totally worked. The build was made. No worries. There's supposed to be one of Wiles' vestigious doors right here, but it's all right. I mean, don't need it exactly, but it's all good. Hopefully the other one is still over there. Looks like from the light that I'm seeing. And then here is the second battle. Like I said, green guys are the second harder or the second level enemies. So I gave you 2 of them to fight. They have a little bit more health, and they do a little bit more damage, as you see. Now I'm just gonna skip through this battle because I don't really want to deal with it right now. And then obviously you're gonna keep going this way. The rocks are still gonna guide you. Here's another checkpoint. Oh, well, no, I went the wrong way. Ignore me. Wrong one. Oops. No? Cover fight. No? Yeah, I went the wrong way. I forgot. I gotta go up the stairs. One of those days, guys. My bad. Really tired right now. But as you see, you know, and then I got a valve here. You can't get back past this once you get past this, unless you know, boom, you need to set that checkpoint. So here I have your second battle with your third battle with this footpath. I'm gonna skip through this one again. These are the third hardest enemies before the boss. So I have this here for a secret area for you to get another passive. So and the other one's just a straight shot with nothing down it really, as you see. But I thought I did pretty good. I like the design of it. I try to make it as much cave-like as I could. Um, Lighting is not my thing. That's why all these lights are all around to make it work how I wanted it to. And here is the boss fight. Obviously, he's gonna do the most damage. Boom. Yeah. So, and then you're gonna go and boom, you go into Wiles' level. So I'm gonna go exit real quick. We're gonna go back into my level, and I'm gonna show you my lose when you die. So level select. We're just gonna go run through. I also have, if you go here, the first script, it should have a kill volume that should respawn you back at your current checkpoint. So attack. Ooh, guy. I'm not gonna do any parries. I'm just gonna attack and kill them and then take the deaths. Do. Alright, let's go get this guy. Alright, now they're gonna mess me up. And obviously, we got a bunch of failure feedback with the lighting, and you know, this, like, slashes and stuff like that. Failure feedback in the level, especially with the sound of the footsteps and stuff like that. The visual cohesion's pretty good. Obviously, player choice is the different paths, and you can do this or that, right? And I think I got the gameplay progression pretty good there. I just need to show you my lose condition, which we are working on. Do. Only single attacks. Come on, guys. Oh, you're dead. I'm dead here. Depending on if he does a double or not. There we go. Game over. There is what I've done this month.
Hello, my name is Wild Salter, and today I will be going over our game, and it is Journey to Remember. And today I am going over for the reason of this month we just completed our level design, so I will walk you through my level and explain what's going on. So my level is the Shimmering Mountains. My first zone, as you can see ahead, is a village. And the very investors. As you may be able to hear, I have a sound that attracts you to yours, so you can know they are. Go on interact, they go away. The village, and I like to call it the frozen hamlet, because, you know, ice mountains. But it's a quiet village with, you know, a lot of trees, a lot of grass, and some snow on the outer walls. But this is my start of my level, and for my flow and pacing of this level, I kind of wanted to get it through lighting and like kind of brokenness almost. I wanted to go for a feel of like kind of old wood as the roofs, and my lights take you onto my other trail. But visually, my homes, like I said, they have the rotten wood. They kind of show you that it's an old village and like it's kind of abandoned. And they have doors that you are not able to interact with or go into. And I have shrine markers, which are basically my checkpoints. And players are given two options of how to leave this place. They can either leave from the village house onto my primary path, or there's a secondary, more hidden path behind this house. This is my second option of leaving. It is a bridge that my fellow teammate made that I use to take you on the shorter path. This is supposed to be the hidden route out here. So I will go back to the main path that I hopefully have like, I guess, lured people into, because this is the one that I want them to take. So I will go down this path. This is the main one. And from the progression standpoint of this level, I showed collectibles for the first time so that you know that the hidden areas or the zones can have collectibles so that you can look around and explore. And as you can see, they have a sound effect. It's a little loud, but it's okay. So now I will continue on to my path now, and this path goes up to my ice lake. First, I'll interact with my checkpoints. As we go up the trail, I put rocks in the way so you wouldn't just be running in a straight line, you have to turn. And as you get up, most people probably will not be turning around here, but if you do, because of the pathway, if you do turn around, you will find another castle. It's called the Preparation. But as you continue up our path, you will find your first enemy. And now we are in my attack. And as you can see, it teleports you to another zone that I made. This is our teleportation. And then, as you can see, there's a frozen lake that if you fall into the lake, you essentially drown. And it takes you back to your previous checkpoint. So what you want to try and do is just hop across some rocks. So you get to the island and activate the other checkpoint. Now you can see I have an ambitious zone, so I'll open this. And then for this zone, I will explain kind of my principles for this zone as well. So the wide layout is so that players will know that it's like safer to jump on the rocks and that you can see the entire area and see where you have to go. That's kind of why the rocks also lead you to the island. And then visually, I have, you know, the jagged rocks, the snow, but there's not much water. I probably should have added that, but that's alright. But for the choices, the players can jump around and explore the area if they want to, but there's not much out here. The main goal is just to make a little puzzle for my ice leak. And for feedback, the fuse that I showed you on the door, and the fuse is that if you fall down into the water, respawn. And for progression, it's just simply running through and continuing on with your way and on your path. So, as we continue ahead, you can activate another checkpoint and find another jumping area But making way up to the shrine, you will find another enemy. This is the main combat zone of my level. And so I will finish that battle quickly and come through my ruins. So as you come down the ruins, you find another passage. As you interact with it, you will find my third and final passage. And so for this zone, the flow and pacing here is tighter corridors. It's meant to kind of have verticality to it and kind of funnel you down into my transition area and to get the passive that is hidden there. And then for the visual theme, I kind of went with like old stones and more of a stony architect kind of feel for it. And the player can climb back up if they really wanted to, but there's not much up there, so I will not go back up. And for the feedback, you have the stone sounds and the climbing. And then for the zone, it kind of introduces a puzzle aspect almost. And it introduces that there are other areas in each zone. And then for the next area, we will continue on to my transition. It is a sort of broken down bridge. All you do is jump over it and you get to the next area. This area is more of like a arena combat zone where I have another enemy. I'll finish the battle and continue on. So, as you leave the arena, you meet my other path that you may not have went down. You can go down there if you want to and continue to explore what you didn't find last time, but I will not be continuing on down that path. I'll be going to my final level, or final area. So, once you get to my final area, you'll be faced with a wall that you are able to climb over. And this, you will find my final boss. So we will go fight my final boss. So after fighting the final boss, I will talk about this zone. So this zone is my icy mountains, or icy high mountains. The flow for this was more of like a vertical climb to get up here, and there was the boss hazard once you actually get in here, and if you look around, you'll see that it's more rocky terrain here. And for the path choice, I mean, it was more of a linear path because I wanted you to get here and continue on once you killed the boss to the level end. And for the feedback I got from this place, it's I got the glowing door to kind of attract you once you're done with the boss, so you'd know that you're supposed to go there instead of like turning around and jumping back off. And this zone for my progression is the final fight, the final way to use your abilities, and things like that. And how you equip passives is you would go to your menu, and you'd find the passives that you picked up. And they have a limit as well. But thank you for watching my level tutorial, and kind of how the walkthrough happened.